Hello and welcome to Close to My Heart Twisted Sisters YouTube hop. My name is Sandy Zimmer and I'm a Close to My Heart maker consultant in Canada. Today I will be showing you how to make a Canadian layout from the papers in the current May-June catalog. This is a beautiful catalog. We will be using the paper from the Stars and Sparklers collection, as well as our Canadian We Stand on Guard for Thee stamp set. I will begin by stamping the flag with the scarlet ink on white daisy cardstock. So you will see me use a couple of techniques here. Once I get my flag stamp ready to go and my scarlet paper ready to go, or scarlet ink ready to go, you will notice that I use two different inking techniques. The first is the swipe technique. Ink up the stamp, then swipe it across the pad to create a wood-like texture. Then stamp it onto your paper. The second is a regular way of doing it. So you just ink it up and then hold it down on your paper until the paper is saturated. I find that holding it down for a longer period of time rather than pushing hard is really the key to getting a nice impression. When I hold them together, you can see the difference. So then I create a third image again, and I cut them up off camera to create the flags. Next, I use the Moments with You stamp and thin cut set. It's Z3952. I cut the I Love You from the black cardstock with my die cut machine. I use the washi tape to hold it in place so that I don't lose that little dot from the top of the eye. I've cut those off camera, and so now I'm placing them on my paper just to sort of figure out where I want everything to go, figuring out the placement. Then I place my flags on there as well, just to sort of figure out how I want them to go on the left side there, creating a vertical collage. Then I decide I'm going to use the Canada from the O Canada stamp set. Now I'm just going to ink up the Canada part so that it says I love Canada. And then I'm going to stamp it in the widest part of the white with the black ink. Now I'm going to glue the I love onto my cardstock. And I'm using my Tombow liquid adhesive for this. I love the way that this works, and it gives me just a fine layer of glue so that I can put it on these fine cut pieces. Forgive the look of my nails. I'm on isolation due to COVID, and it's really time to get my nails done. But unfortunately, I can't leave my house or see anybody, so it is what it is. So I'm now arranging my flags to create that vertical border down the left side of my paper. I then decide to stamp some images from the stamp set using the black on white daisy. But I later decide that I'm not going to use all of them, because I decide that I want this to be a tribute to my grandfather who fought in the war. So rather than using all of those, I'm just going to use a few of them. But you can see me stamping them here. And again, I use that swipe technique. I kind of like the way that in the one that I'm doing right now, it turns out it almost looks like his hair in his shirt when I swipe it. And so that's the image that I'll thin cut out and use on my layout later. Kind of neat, just the way it worked out. So next I use the scarlet, and I ink up the large and medium maple leaves and stamp them just randomly on there because I'm going to use my thin cuts to cut those out. The thin cuts for this are just awesome. I love all of our thin cuts because they create such a nice cut image and they take no time at all to run through my Cuttlebug or whatever die cut machine you have. I highly recommend them. And you cannot buy them later. You have to buy them at the time that you buy the stamp set. So keep that in mind as you do it. So here I'm stamping the dog tags using Pebble. And there's a thin cut for that as well. I also decide that I'm going to stamp the We Stand on Guard for Thee and place that on my layout just as another embellishment. So I'm just inking that up with the black ink right now and stamping that. And later I'll cut that out with our stacked stitched rectangle die cut. It cuts out the inside and a frame at the same time. So then I end up having a little bit of extra embellishment as well for a project later on. So you'll just see me taking those thin cuts apart there, just shows you how nicely they work. And that's the thin cut for the rectangle frame. So again, I'm just showing you the stamp set here that I used. And this is the paper. That's the back side of the paper and the front. And I just wanted to show you that I did a 4.5 black paper strip layer so that I could put one 4x6 and one 4x4 photo on there. And then I fill in that spot in the middle with a few things. I use the hero as well as the thank you I put off to the side there. The dog tags, I'm just showing you that I'm going to write his name on there later on. And as well as adding the thin cut maple leaves, I also use the tiny little stamp and stamp that directly on the paper in various spots, sort of creating a cascade of those beautiful little maple leaves. Excuse me. So I placed the We Stand on Guard for Thee in the bottom right hand corner. And again, using that thin cut, that middle one. And you can see here that I have the extra frame that was created as well when I cut it out. So you can use that later on another project. So this is just a visual of the stamps and thin cuts that I used to create this project. And here is the finished product. I hope that you enjoyed this American to Canadian twist. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the rest of our Twisted Sisters in this YouTube hop. They have some fabulous creations. Thanks for watching.